Jotsky looking for that damage, finds him on the Diablo. Diablo forced it back out as their health drops low. The Immortal now is at 25%.
Back down, Yo on the Grey Man, gonna be the first to fall. But is it ETC? No, that's Malthael up there. A triple.
The Leyline used in the back, catching 3 people on top of that, followed up by the APOC and the Lurking On. Catching 2, but this time On is gonna be the first one.
Wow, did you see that mosh pit? 4-man mosh pit. While on a conveyor belt. That was like a regular sushi.
There's the lead, catches him in the mud pit. Time trap does pop. Mosh pit goes out. Ruby's still in trouble. Pops to stay a while and listen, but it's not going to matter.
Here comes the Bloodlust on the backside, but he's doing it for under. And then stunned. Oh my goodness. The combo.
Getting struck down, ETC getting killed. He becomes dog food for the Crazy.
I didn't think they had a chance. I thought it was all over. We said all or nothing, and they got absolutely everything.
Hello everybody and welcome back to the Nexus Gaming Series. Tonight doing a replay cast here in Division E East between the Souls in Slowmo and Macro Machines. Of course they decided to swap sides when they loaded up their game, so I had to swap them on the screen there. So there you go, that's why, in case you're wondering why later everything was backwards. But tonight, just a replay cast here between the two teams. That means that we don't get to see the drafts. We do have some of the map information, so we'll go ahead and get into that real quick. I do not know, unfortunately, who selected the maps because the replays aren't currently loading for that. So, Alice, stop. So, all we've got are the map bans. The bans onto Battlefield of Eternity and Dragonshire there by Souls in Slowmo, and Towers of Doom and Volsky Foundry by Macro Machines. So. Just wanted to say hello to my good friend Nomi out there, and of course Ektar, I saw you out there as well. And anybody else that came in, obviously, hopefully some of the teams kind of short notice to get everybody out here, but ultimately the VOD will be up on YouTube, so they can check all of this out, and then you can wave at me from YouTube land, I suppose. But the game is already set up and loaded, so. I mean, basically, we can just get right into this. There's no draft. I'm not going to do standings because, of course, I don't want to get into any spoilers of how the game or match may have played out. We'll go through that at the end of the match. And then after this, I've got a redemption, a channel point redemption by Ektar there for what I hear was quite an exciting matchup in Division A in the in-houses there a couple of days ago on a Garden of Terror map. That was a little spicy. So let's get into this game and we'll check that out later. All right. On the left, it's going to be Macro Machines. And I'm probably going to screw this out once or twice or something because they went to the opposite sides. But getting our teams introduced, we got Frizank playing the Cassia, lost on Falstad. Rats in there on Diablo. Morvan on Lily, and Rex are going to be played by Juke City.
10 seconds.
And over here to the right, it's Souls in Slowmo. We've got the Captain on Jaina, Sub-Zero on Raynor. Born to Shine going to be on that Rhaegar. Olime Bus? Well, anyways, we got a bus down there playing the Uther. And Silverbell going to be on the Dahaka up top. Haka versus the Rexar should be an interesting matchup there. Rexar with Misha there can kind of just stay in Dahaka's face. And Dahaka's going to have difficulty, I think, picking up the point there. So this could be interesting. We'll see how that goes. But Braxis, of course, being a 2-lane map, the top lane with the 1v1, very important for the objective. And early game here, so Uther kind of taking that tank pseudo second support role going into the Q quest. That's his Holy Light. Called Holy Light in this game? I think. Yeah, Holy Light, yeah. So he's looking for the extra damage. He wants to mitigate that damage by giving his teammates armor when he heals them there. So 14 stacks on that already. Looking for 80 total. Brax's holdout has a very early objective because the objective takes so long to channel. You have to hold on to these 2 points, and we see here already Dahaka a little low. Has a little bit of a challenge there with the Rexar. But these 2 control points up top, down below, you have to hold on to each of them in order to get the channel. And ultimately, once completed, with over here on the right, once a team has a full channel, they let out the Zerg from these pens up here. We'll see those coming onto the map. But we're going to get a rotation onto the upper camp on the side of Souls in Slowmo. But that gives bottom here pretty much free over to Macro Machines. And that's not necessarily a great trade, because up here Rexar is able to push off the Dahaka and keep him away, having the 2 bodies, allowing Misha to soak, but also to hold on to that channel. The rotation then onto the point to stop that channel. 30% completed there by Macro Machines. I really am going to mess that up. I really wanted to call that Souls in Slowmo again. Thanks, Nomi. Appreciate it. Glad you could be here. All right, Diablo coming up. So we saw the rotation earlier from Souls in Slowmo, but now they're heading down to the bottom to get that. Silverbell misses the tongue there, has to use his essence to get away. But will be able to get out as just a short channel, 4% for Souls in Slowmo now. And a couple of camps still available. The Bruiser camps up in the top for Macro Machines, bottom for Souls in Slowmo. But for at least right now, we're just going to see level 4 talents. Show those up there. And bit of a fight here. Diablo looking for the Uther. Gets the flip stun into the wall, but Uther's looking for that Cassie. Gets a stun onto her there. And Ratson on the Diablo, the one who's falling a little bit low, has to pull back, getting a little healing out of that Flame Stomp. But this is the matchup that I think is really going to be clutch for this game, is between the Dahaka and the Rexar. See, Rexar did get a little low there. Has some extra mana that he just got, but Falstad flying over the wall. Cassia with that fend here, but it's going to be lost, falling first. And the channel here still in question, right? They still have to actually send somebody up to help out the Dahaka to be able to pick up the channel in the top. We're going to see Jaina rotating in to exactly do that. Along with Rhaegar. So Misha in a little bit of danger, slowed by the Jaina there. But just so difficult to kill. Dahaka with the tongue does manage to pull Misha back there, but again, the DPS had already pulled back. But with that full rotation there, we got Macro coming back into this bot lane and stalling that channel. So just 10% for our red team. Uther coming in. Diablo maybe looking to get this stun. Missed the wall, so couldn't quite get that stun into the wall. Or the charge into the wall for the stun. That stun lands, and I think Uther finds himself a free one-way ticket into the graveyard. But for right now, he's safe. Rhaegar, not so lucky. Not even sure how that hit. That looked a little bit odd for that one, but 7s are here for Souls in Slowmo. It's going to be the cleanse there for Rhaegar. Hand of Protection, basically the same ability for Uther, but the charge is going to get Uther this time, and Cassia getting that kill. So 1 for 1 on the kill count so far. But that likely gives the channel now over to the blue team, Macro Machines. And since there's not a lot that the red team can do down in the bot lane, they're going to just send everybody up here, deal with the Misha Rexar combo, try to stall this out, and they will stop it at 80%. Bot lane is wide open, though, so this is the potential for Macro Machines to just push. Instead, it looks like they're going to get their camp, so that'll give them that armor shredding ability as well. We see that on the heroes already. I think they could have gotten a little bit more value out of this. I think they could have gotten at least 1 tower, maybe even both, in that time, thanks to this rotation up, and I think that would have been a really positive trade. But they'll get that XP out of the camp, and send that out. And looks like they'll be able to push with that now as well, as Souls and Slowmo bringing in the top lane with their camp. We'll see if they get to push it all with this into the Lili Rexar. As bot lane, it's just Uther. Uther doesn't have the greatest clear, so this camp is really going to get a lot of value down here. So Souls and Slowmo really needs to get as much, and it doesn't look like they're going to. The Lili Rexar managing to defend that fairly easily. Certainly easier than the Uther. Uther's sitting at 74 stacks, so very close. And of course, completing that quest gives him additional range, but also gives him the reduced mana cost, which is so important for Uther in this game, especially as the tank. It also means that he can use that Holy Shock from level 4 on enemies at a very far distance, and also have a net positive. Flip didn't even come out. There it is. Just using the Shadow Charge, Ratchet in there, getting the kill onto Uther. And the channel going over to Souls and Slowmo. Surprisingly, having their Uther dead, the fact that Diablo had to pull back, they're going to get that channel. Cleanse coming out on a Jaina, but it's not going to be enough. She's going to go down Sub-Zero here, trying to put out a little bit more damage, gets the Falstad quite low, but just not enough bodies to be able to do anything about it. So, as we saw earlier, Rhaegar, Raynor, Uther, as well, coming up into the top lane to try to push them off and just hold on to this upper lane. But because they've sent so many people up, again, this is an opportunity, if only a little one, because you just got Diablo and Lili. I mean, they don't do amazing siege over here. But it's an opportunity to push that lane up. Falstad coming in with the Gust is going to push back the Dahaka. He doesn't have a lot of mana, so he's pretty much toast. So, great, absolutely fantastic fly and Gust there by the Falstad to recognize the kill potential there for the Dahaka. But you know what? If you're Dahaka, you're kind of saying, I was out of mana anyway, so this is my free reset. And as we often see, not always, but often see with the Uther, it's going to be that Divine Storm with him being as a tank. There's the Rhaegar getting that Ancestral out to keep himself alive, but it's not going to matter. The Ball Lightning is going to take out the Rhaegar. In there, though, Jaina securing that kill onto Falstad with all of that chill damage. Rexar gets tongued by Silverbell and Isolation, and they will get that kill. Jaina securing yet another kill here. Uther down versus Cassia. And this is where that Divine Storm can really provide a lot of benefit. If Uther can get his Hand of Judgment stun, along with the Divine Storm stun, and at 16 a Benediction stun, Cassia becomes a squishy target. They do also have the Dahaka to help with that, with an additional stun. So a lot of different ways that they could potentially lock down that Cassia. No Ring of Frost, so that's not going to work out, but still could see a Cone of Cold route there. But Uther getting flipped once again into the wall, and this is where Diablo really shines on this map. He's able to just control these points so very well that anybody stepping in risks death. And now with the 3v3, 3v4 defense here, Diablo charging in does have the Apocalypse, flips Jaina into it, and even under the tower, you cannot be safe from the big stun combo of that Apocalypse. And Diablo's got quite a bit of health there. With all of those souls, he's full souls, so it's difficult to kill Diablo, even with that 20 armor reduction from the fort. That's going to be maybe first fort going down here in a moment, possibly. Fujin, good to see you. Thanks for the follow. So still no initial Zerg wave. This is really surprising. It's very rare to go 10 minutes into a Braxis holdout and not have a single Zerg wave. With the kills that we've had, 7 kills to 3, you would think that just timing-wise that would have happened. I think part of that just comes out of the rotations that we've had, and it looks like after saying that, we're probably just about to get that first Zerg wave. Diablo getting stunned right into the ground, but Falstad coming in with the Mighty Gust. Not sure that's the best place for him, though. Looks like that was the case. Little bit of a fried chicken for the evening there. But we see now, because of this incredibly large Zerg wave in the top lane, Souls and Slowmo has to rotate up to clear this up. The bot lane, it still has some of a Zerg wave, and really the high value here is that they've also got the camp provided here as well. So that really saves a lot of value for Souls and Slowmo, because macro machines, in addition to having the dead heroes, macro machines could have very much pushed up the lane, or pushed up in the top lane with their Zerg wave and gotten significant value. But overall, that full Zerg wave got very limited value. Just that wall. And Souls and Slowmo going to be able to take advantage of this. Considering that they were the ones that lost the Zerg wave, that's a lot of value that Souls and Slowmo just got there. Rotation coming in, we see Falstad looking for it. He's got this Mighty Gust. Last one didn't go quite as planned, but this, oh, there's the stun. And the Divine Storm, Falstad looking for it, and just could not get the cooldown off. Born to Shine, though, in danger here, is slowed, and Misha just trying to stay in there, but Misha now taking the damage. Water Elemental coming back, and this is an interesting setup. We have so many bodies on this map, right? We've got Rainer's Raider right there, floating about. We've got the Water Elemental. We've got Misha. So there's just extra stuff all over the place. That means extra things that Cassia can hit her lightning charges off of. It means extra targets that Lily's blind goes into. None of them are heroes on the side of Souls and Slowmo, so you're not seeing extra Apocalypse, but it's a lot of just extra stuff, extra health bars out there to go on the map. Looking for this Diablo, big stun from the Uther. Looking for the Jaina, but there's, the Rhaegar, but there's the Mighty Gust, and that one will protect Diablo. So a much better Mighty Gust here, keeping the Diablo safe and on the map. Meanwhile, down in the bot lane, we now have our Dahaka Rexxar matchup in a different lane. And of course, this is a little bit harder here for Dahaka, because this is his fort. It doesn't exist. There's no healing well for him. Rexxar does have basically all of his defenses over here. He's lost one tower right here, but the rest is there. Dahaka, if there was a fort there, maybe he could have done a little bit more work with that, but ultimately it was just a little tongue damage there. Up in the top, though, we do see blue team trying to push in. They've got level 16s, so they have that advantage. Apocalypse coming out. We're going to see the Unstoppable use there. Born to Shine gets flipped, but the Ball Lightning flipping back and forth between the two healers. And Lily keeping her team up with that Jug of 1,000 Cups. Souls and Slowmo a little bit unhealthy here. So got to be careful. Right in front of this wall, right here. That's the danger zone, and they keep running in front of it. Diablo could, at any time, find one of those people. But there it is. Finds the Uther, gets the cleanse, but it's not going to matter. Dahaka coming in with the isolation, used his burrow to get up here. And this is basically still an even fight until Rexxar makes it up. Ratzen's going to charge in onto the Rhaegar, and Silverbear, the one who's really quite low, is going to get taken out. Rexxar coming in from behind, has the boars, slows everybody down. Jaina using that ice block, but she's not long for this world. Diablo securing that one there. And Sub-Zero getting that big heal off that penetrating round. Able to get about half of his health back between that and the additional healing coming from Rhaegar. But this right here is a problem. A full Zerg wave coming into this keep. And there's not going to be a tower here by the time that it gets here. But it would be much more of a problem if anybody was actually here. If the blue team actually came here to provide the support. And we see, holy smokes, Born to Shine taking all of the damage. The Baneling's just going ham on that wolf. Too many animal comments there, I think. And Dahaka's gonna go in, has his Dark Swarms, gonna get charged, flipped, and makes it. I think that was an Ancestral looking for the Dahaka, but it didn't quite make it there. Ratson just barely alive. Lily doing so much work keeping the Diablo alive. Jaina juking, I think, the lightning from Cassia there with that ice block. And it looks like overall this is probably going is probably going to be cleared up. Frizank getting really low. Rhaegar, you could tell, was looking for that. Born was hungry, but could not dive past the Zerg wave safely without the rest of her team. Ektar, I 100% agree. It was just so close. One more Baneling, and I think that that Born to Shine is not long for this world in that circumstance. 18-16 though, so Macro Machines is definitely ahead overall in this. They have all of their forts still up. Now Rexar kind of being a little cheeky, but doesn't have his team, so can't really do anything about that. There's no wall left in the bot lane. There is in the top lane where the next Zerg wave could come in. But as things get closer to 20 here, this gets a little bit more difficult. There's the Mighty Gust pushing both of the healers up into the enemy team. Looking for that Divine Storm. There it is. Falstad gonna get taken out by the Jaina. Ball Lightning bouncing all over the place. So Cassia looking for the Raynor, however. Raynor knocking her back into the team. Can Jaina finish it? Doesn't matter because Dahaka gets that one. Born on the Rhaegar looking for something else to chomp, but there's really just that Misha there. So is this a boss play? Do they rotate down? It looks like Dahaka's going there first. And that boss is melting fast, and there's only the 3 of them. Raynor's not even here. And Rhaegar wasn't either. So boss is going to go over to Souls and Slowmo. That is a huge pickup for them. And that will go into... Is it going to the bot lane? Looks like it's going to the bot lane. And that's actually probably really good for them, too, because they've already got this camp pushing. Having the camp along with the boss pushing in the bot lane is great. Rexar, however, gets stunned, double stunned. Here comes an Apocalypse. It's going to hit on everybody except for the Raynor. And now Uther's actually the one in danger. Does get that Ancestral as the tongue coming out onto Diablo. He's going to get cleansed. And Falstad with the Mighty Gust is going to push everybody back. Just that kill onto the Misha. She'll be back in a short while. But all things considered, I don't think Macro Machines could have gotten any luckier out of that. The placement of that Uther was fantastic, and if things had gone just slightly tighter, that Diablo dies, doesn't get the Apocalypse off, and that could have been a full team wipe potentially. But the channel begins for Souls and Slowmo, looking really good. They've got the wall already down here. The Zerg wave is in the bot lane as well, so taking out as much as they can here is critical. But level 20 is only about a half a level away for Macro Machines. There's a great cleanse there onto the Diablo, juking that Divine Storm, flipping over Silverbell, but doesn't matter. Diablo will be back in a few moments here, so it'll still be a full team. The channel still 86%. It should be able to be finished here in just a few moments. And that should all but guarantee them that keep. There are hardly any defenses on this. Because of the importance of their structures, though, the Haka's going to head up there, try to clear up the Zerg wave, and get them to level 20. But that means their forces are split. Jaina's up there dealing with the Zerg wave. Dahaka's coming down. I really don't think they push with this. I think they probably stay as far back as they can, because otherwise, you know, we've seen Falstad. He will fly over this team and shove them into that tower with an Apocalypse under them, and that could be a very big thing. Here it comes. There's the wind tunnel right under the tower. Here comes Apocalypse looking at Silverbell, gets a double stun. Misha's going to fall in the back there. Sub-Zero gets stunned into the tower, and the Ancestral just a moment too late. So a 1 for half trade there, as level 20 now available for Souls and Slowmo, but they don't have the Jaina, so they just have to pull back. And that's an unfortunate turn of events there for them. They are going to make the best of it. They're going to come up, get the top fort now, and I think that at this point they just pull back. They have 30 seconds left until Raynor gets on the map, so I think this is probably their best bet. Their siege camp, they can burn that very quickly, and then they have to be careful because, yeah, exactly. They're on the hunt. They know that there's no Raynor. Jaina's coming down here. This could be exactly the kill that Macro Machines wants. Diablo's looking for the Jaina. We see the pings calling out the danger, but there's still no Raynor. This is a super challenging fight. There's a big Divine Storm, though. Awesome Contagion, getting massive value, but the Wind Tunnel shoving everybody into the corner, but no follow-up. No, they didn't have the Apocalypse. They could have potentially gotten the board, so that actually worked out in favor for Souls and Slowmo, and I was convinced that was going to be the end of it. I was convinced that was just going to be toast. Jaina was going to die. Uther was going to die. Like, everybody was just going to die there. But they managed to survive, and now their full squad. Doc is going to grab the Misha. She's going to get a little bit of that men pet action. But this is another location where it's not super favorable, as Uther just getting completely deleted. And he's not coming back. He doesn't have redemption, so this is a fighting retreat for Souls and Slowmo. Dahaka trying to get away. There's the Apocalypse, and Rhaegar double stun there. I'm sorry, that's actually Raynor. Dahaka went down above the double Ancestral, but Raynor is not going to be able to make it out of this. And the real question of the day is, can Souls and Slowmo hold out long enough that these camps get value? But it doesn't look like it. Rexar's going to get over here, clean up the camps. And so this is a little bit easier defense. It's just Jaina and Rhaegar, so they have to be super careful. But without having the Rexar, yeah, I was going to say they might have to pull back. There's not a ton of time before that Uther comes back. And losing that Uther is huge. They cannot afford to lose Uther early on in this. If you're going to lose somebody, I mean, sure, have the Uther, because then you get the extra healing. But he's also your primary front line. You need to have him up in the front. And without him, it's very difficult for Souls to challenge that. Now, this boss, I don't think we challenge it. This should be free for macro machines. And the real question now becomes, how do they split this? They are going to get the Zerg going. And this is not a Zerg wave Souls and Slowmo wants to let go, because the bottom lane is wide open. So I like this call. Coming down, working on one of the objectives. It's the one farthest away from the boss. That's you know, makes sense, because then it's the longest rotation for the enemy team. But now they've got to clear the boss. So I think I would have liked to have seen Raynor stay here. It looked like that's what he was doing earlier. He does have that Exterminator, so he could have potentially just defended this fairly well. But we'll see how quickly they can bring this down. Dahaka versus Rexar. And again, we've seen how this matchup goes, and it's not going to be easier at level 20. So we'll watch this as the rest of the rotation coming in from macro machines. Maybe just the one rotation, and it might be all that's necessary, as Dahaka is going to get pushed back with the one tunnel. He's trying to move into it there, but that ultimately leads to his death. And with the top keep down, this channel begins to look like the end for Souls and Slowmo. So they've got to move in and see if they can get a kill. Uther didn't quite get that stun out. There's the Unstoppable along with the double Ancestral. Big Divine Storm looking for the Diablo, but the Ball Lightning is bouncing forever. Finally goes away, but Jaina about to get taken out there. Sub-Zero not looking so healthy himself with the Rexar behind, does fall shortly after, and now it's just Born to Shine in the bus. But it's going to be a very difficult defense against the might of the Zerg coming in the bot lane with the bulk of macro machines behind it. Well, that happened. And you know what? I mean, to be fair, there wasn't much that could be done there with Uther, Rhaegar. All you could really do is try to slow things down. But with the tools available, that just wasn't really feasible. Wind Tunnel going out onto the Rhaegar, but it's really just a Zerg show, as macro machines, our blue team, will finish game number 1. Let's take a look at stats, take a look at talents. We'll give you guys a moment for that. Again, because of the fact that this is a replay cast, the not quite the same overlay. Let me actually see if that stats overlay works. Not sure how it'll look on this. Not too bad. 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 Not too bad So that was a pretty good game. I mean, the kill count there, a lot of those kills ended up coming toward the end in favor of Macro Machines. This overall was a pretty close game. I think, you know, realistically, either team could have potentially pulled that out, and it was just that last, technically, I think a couple of fights that ultimately set Macro Machines ahead in that one. So, all right, we will get ready here for game number 2. And while I do that, I guess I'll chat with you fine people. Free back and forth game. Every banelink, yeah. Talk about that one. Let's see. Game number 2 looks like it's going to be on Tomb of the Spider Queen. And thankfully, they have things on the same side, it looks like, so that's good. So, Fujin, are you on a team? You are, right? Because I know you obviously you cast, but I didn't know if you were on it. Which team are you on? Gotcha. That's right. I should have known that. Well, I knew which team you were on, Ektar. Jeez. Fair enough. There you go. Let's... Done, everybody? Alright, looks good. Let's get the game to load. Oh, that makes sense. That makes sense. Yep. True. Yeah, I picked up a different one for Divine here in a couple or next week. Maybe I get 2. Maybe I have 2 for Divine. I've got one for next Wednesday that's late, and then I think I got one later in the season for them that's like the 5th or something. Well, actually, I don't know. It's out there, whatever. But anyways, game is all set up and ready to go, and here we go. All right, Tomb of the Spider Queen currently up 1-0 on the left. We have Macro Machines. It's going to be Ratson on the variant, and I have to call out that is the exact same skin mount combo that I run on my variant. Juke City, they're going to be playing Stukov. We got Frizank on Raynor, Lost on the Sylvanas, and Morvan. We'll go with Morvan on the Diva. And over here to the right, we got Souls in Slowmo. We got Olimabus on Johanna. We got the Captain playing Jaina, Born to Shine on the Rhaegar. Sub-Zero this time going on to the Greymane. And Silver Bell going to be on that Sonya. Yeah, that's actually not a terrible idea there, Ace. I think I can submit that change. So I'll actually have to change, see if I can change that. So, all right, level 1 talents. The only quest talent we've got is Jaina with the globes there. Johanna using that Iron Skin to get away. And kind of pretty common combo with this Varian Stukov. You get that taunt, then that makes it real easy for Stukov to get that Root Silence at level 13. And at that point, Johanna can't even make it out of that. Especially if you've got the Shattering Throw out of the Varian. Sonya, however, getting a little bit of value in the bot lane. And I'm going to mute for just a moment because I have to cough. And, yeah, you know, stuff and things. All right. We'll see if we're back, or if I get that little tickle that requires the cough. You know what I mean? Speaking of that, Johanna getting stuck there, surrounded by all of the blue team members. But Varian, no taunt yet, so everything's fine. And it just occurred to me I didn't update my Aliobs, so I don't know if, like, the Diva change, if that's fixed in that. The Final Fantasy VIII lady? Is that the teacher? Can't quite see it. But anyways, coming up on level 4 here soon for Souls and Slowmo. Now, they're down a game here in this best of 3 match, so they are really looking to pick this up. And I think they've got tools to be able to do that, right? They've got the Jaina Greymane, so that's a lot of damage that they can get, really significant burst damage, that they can combo with Johanna off of, say, a Bless Shield. Sonya also does just boatloads of damage, so I mean, we could see either ult coming out of that Rhaegar. We could see the Bloodlust to go for that Sonya and Greymane, or the Ancestral just to kind of help the protection against that Varian combo. And Greymane's going to come down recognizing the rotation from Macro Machines. But now this is an uneven fight in favor of Macro Machines. Morvan going to move up onto the Greymane, and of course, there is that mech explosion, so if necessary, they could use that, but they don't need to. They're going to go ahead and pick up the siege camp in the bot. But 34 gems turned in already for Souls and Slowmo. Oh, yeah. Okay, gotcha. Sorry. It's been a while since I've played that. So still a few away for Souls and Slowmo as they're lost getting away thanks to that haunting wave. We see Raynor and Varian in the mid. Still no gems turned in for Macro Machines, although they do now have enough also, of course. Souls and Slowmo, they just got enough themselves. Looks like we had a pause there. I'll just go ahead and turn the chat back off. And of course, since this is a replay, like, we don't see what happens in the pauses, so it just shows up with a whole bunch of chat. No way to stall that out safely. So Born to Shine having to pull back. 34 turned in for both sides. It's pretty uncommon you actually see the same amount turned in by both sides. But that's what we see here now. And the same number picked up. It's not uncommon to see, like, teams have an uneven amount just because of the fact that maybe one side zones out better, or there's a kill by now, so there's 3 more gems on the floor, or somebody loses gems, like any of those options. Speaking of losing gems here, Johanna's gonna get taunted, but the silence not quite where and when it needed to be, so she's able to pop that Iron Skin and get away. I don't know if you have a link, and I'm not sure that it'll let you post it, for what that's worth. Rhaegar's gonna get taunted and pulled back. Brought down pretty low, but not quite. So no deaths just yet for Zank getting very low. Greymane trying to dive in, but still 34 to 34 on the gem count. We see Sonya and Diva. Can Sonya get that before the mech explosion? But not quite. So she's gonna make it out, but that's fantastic. Using the mech explosion puts Macro Machines at a little bit of a disadvantage now in a big full 5v5 team fight. Looking for the Raynor is very low, but they can't, once again, they just can't quite get that completed kill. The CC potential out of Souls and Slowmo is somewhat minimal, right? They are going to be able to get the first Web Weavers though. But they've got to rely on Johanna. Now, she did take Subdue, so that's additional slow, and it's a huge slow if she can hit 2 people. And Rhaegar's Totem. I mean, that's, you know, the Condemn from Johanna. That's about it. And then, of course, that right there, that Spear from the Sonya. Now, Sonya going into pretty much a largely defensive build, wanting to get the physical armor. However, Greymane going to be the first kill of the game 6 minutes in there. getting that taunt silence combo, Macro Machines finally able to secure that first kill. Maybe looking for that second, as Varian is going to find himself a Rhaegar. Gonna get that taunt. The silence coming out, and they do get it. But the XP, pretty even still. In fact, Souls and Slowmo might just get 10 first, and they do. Sonya doing a little bit of work there to make sure that her team is staying alive. And as normal for a first wave of web weavers, we don't get a ton of value. There's a wall down in top, there's a wall down in bottom. But no structures really, no forts have been taken down. But that could all change here soon. Both teams have some pretty solid siege potential between the Sonya with Wrath of the Berserker. You got Raynor with the Hyperion. So anybody getting another web weaver here, either side, could do a lot. Oh, missing the spear. That could be a huge problem, as Sonya no longer has the quick generation of the Fury, but she's actually going to pop that Wrath of the Berserker, and they're going to get the double kill. Sylvanas and Varian both falling, and that now gives the go-ahead for Souls and Slowmo to turn in 35 gems. Significantly on their way toward a second turn-in. And Sonya trying to keep things going here, getting the Fury, get that lane pushed up, and continuing the XP. But it looks like we may get a turn up top. Gets the one stall, but 46 now turned in for Macro Machines. So definitely getting closer to that first web weaver for them. And now that both teams have level 10 ultimates available, these web weavers become a lot more dangerous when they have full team support to go along with them. Bot lane oh shoot. Okay, well, I'm sure that was a fantastic rotation and kill by the Souls in Slowmo. So what I was gonna say was right down here, they've got the pressure thanks to the Siege Giants. But it's going to be now the web weavers coming in for the blue team, Macro Machines, and they also have a camp. Now, I think right there, I think they could have waited. Rather than killing the minion wave and pushing this up right up to the wall, I think they could have waited a few moments and let the bruiser camp fight it itself, and then they could have pushed a little bit harder. As it is right now, they're now cleaning up this top lane. Bot lane, of course, had the Siege Giants, so that was always going to be the challenging lane for them. But this is a free clear, and with the bruisers coming up here for Souls and Slowmo, this is actually now favoring the red team. Big condemn. Can they get the Blessed Shield? Ring of Frost coming out, double root, but the taunt along with the Ancestral, which might not have actually been required. But Greymane trying to get the kills. Raynor going to be the first to fall. Jaina finishing that off, and now the wave completely gone. From, at least in the top lane, from Macro Machines. There is still the web weaver in the bot lane, and left unchecked, this is going to be a fort, and I don't know that Sonya is able to get down here in enough time to stop this, especially with the friends coming in, right? Diva, Sylvanas can shut down that tower, so this is entirely gone. So ultimately, a little bit of value there for Macro Machines, getting themselves an entire fort. Souls and Slowmo does have the potential to take the bottom fort down themselves, but we get that rotation, and Greymane gonna get caught by the taunt and taken out with that full combo here. And that's the dangerous aspect of what Macro Machines has put together here, is they can put out a ton of damage with that Sylvanas onto a target. They don't even really need the Diva to provide any of this. But Sylvanas, and then Raynor just shows up and just, you know, pew-pews, right? Just throws out his little bullet sprays, sticking his tongue out, just like Carbot. And ultimately are able to get that kill. So, Varian actually going into the charge damage there. And, oh, this is most unfortunate for our Johanna. And that's 20 gems right there that you see Captain's going to try to get there, but just can't quite make it. And Sonya might be... I was going to say might be chased down here, but it looks like because she rotated just a little bit faster than Macro Machines, she's able to make it up. And this is Red Web Weaver, so this is going up into the top lane. Well, it's going to all the lanes, but up in the top lane, Sonya's going to try to clear this up with Greymane. And Sonya Greymane is huge siege, so this fort could go down if the Macro Machines rotation doesn't get here quickly enough. All right, they're in the back looking for the Greymane. There's the silence as well. Ancestral going out is going to keep Sub-Zero up for a little bit longer, but they just keep going. And now Born to Shine in danger. 20 more gems sitting on the ground there. Has Stukov going to shove Jaina off into the distance? Right? Was it Jaina? No, Sonya. They just killed the Jaina. And that's going to be a quad kill. Johanna, the only one left alive, as they do secure 2 forts out of that. So, I mean, they get the permanent value of structures, but they lose 4 heroes. The good thing is this Web Weaver is still on the map, so it delays the potential for any like boss rotation or anything like that. And having 16, Macro Machines could quite easily take that down with the Rainer, the Sylvanas, and Varian to tank that with his parry damage. Or parry, not damage, but his parry ability. Of course, that parry ability does not prevent damage from the boss stomp, but, you know, it's easy to get in that habit when you have shield wall to protect from all types of damage. That said, with the boss nearly complete, Varian gonna watch from behind as the rest of the red team was loading out onto the map there. And at least, you know, if you're Souls in Slowmo, the positive here for you is that the boss is in a lane that you still have your fort. So this is still relatively forward for Sonya to push in and clear. But Sylvanas is going to shut down the tower, and with Jaina and Sonya here, it's just the 2 heroes to try to defend. Sylvanas is going to use that Haunting Wave to get out, and the boss will secure the fort. Now, Jaina, however, getting pulled in by the tornado. Most unfortunate positioning for that. Just couldn't quite get out. Didn't have the ice block. Varian looking for the Johanna. He doesn't have that shattering throw, so that ice, or sorry, that not hold your ground, that's the talent. Iron Skin will protect Johanna for long enough. She's not this time. The silence coming out underneath, and Varian taking advantage of Johanna's positioning there. Sonya trying to spin to keeps the healing going. With the Web Weavers coming in and Sub-Zero now in danger. Ancestral coming out just in time, but Sub-Zero is still very low. Greymane having to pull back, and now this Web Weaver with the tower shut down should be able to take the keep. Mid lane is slowly falling to D.Va as well. But with no frontliners here, it's a little bit of a tough time for Souls in Slowmo. Sorry about that. Had to cough again. Web Weaver's still going here for a few moments. Bottom lane is going to get a lot of pressure. This is opening up here pretty effectively, having the D.Va. And still another 80% or so of a level until Macro Machines gets to level 20. So now that the Web Weavers are gone, this is really where Souls need to find some kind of advantage before they have to deal with a level 20 turnaround. But Macro Machines ready to turn in 60 of their 80 gems. A lot of them on D.Va though. So stalling out the D.Va means that there's no blue Web Weaver coming in immediately. And this is the fight that they need to find. There's still a half a level, so they need to find the right target. Johanna's gonna get the Blessed Shield out there. Varian is gonna get pulled in with the Condemn. Ring of Frost lands onto so many targets. Stukov going to shove Sonya back. And Sylvanas is gonna get taken out. Sub-Zero's gonna dive away there. And that's a huge play for Souls in Slowmo. They got very low because of it, but it's absolutely monstrous for them. Now, D.Va, however, does get the turn in, and this could be very, very bad. If Sonya falls here, it's probably game, but there she goes. She gets the Ancestral. D.Va is going to fall, gets out of her mech. Taunt going out onto Johanna. She is ultimately able to get that Iron Skin, though. So no silence there to prevent that one. But now we've got a couple of catapults. Not a huge deal. They can clear that out, but the Web Weaver coming in shortly behind that is a much bigger deal, especially with level 20s coming online for Macro Machines, as they will be able to push into one of these other lanes. And it looks like with Rainer there, Execute is so strong. Once you're under half health right here, increased attack speed baseline is and additional damage against targets that are under half health. So that includes structures, coincidentally. So getting these things down under half health, whether it's the core, whether it's keep, is very valuable for the Rainer especially. Still down the Sylvanas, and Souls are kind of on a clock here. They've got a full level to go, but they don't want to push into this. If they push into this, they pretty much just lose, because they get a wailing arrow into them, gets a big silence onto them. They've got the Stukov silence. Varian just taunt and kill somebody, so they have to be a little bit careful. They've got all their lanes pushed up, so this is all relatively safe XP as long as they have any idea of where the enemy team is located. And this might be okay with the knowledge that they were in that bot lane. You know, they can get the team to turn in, so that's good. They can tell that this map or this camp is on the map still, so they know that this is where macro machines are hanging out. Level 20s are going to be here soon for Souls and Slowmo, so this is where macro machines, like, they've got pretty good pressure in every lane, so they don't necessarily have to be too concerned about these web weavers coming in. They could have potentially looked to come in right behind Souls and Slowmo and found themselves some kills, but they are going to clear up mid lane first, and looks like they're heading to top. That's the next closest to their own structure, so they're just going to clear things out. Varian, with that level 10, gives him that ally charge, so he can actually intervene to his companions as opposed to just enemies. And of course, that banner of Ironforge provides 20 armor, but also Glory to the Alliance there at level 20 gives 50% increased healing to anybody within the banner's range. So that's pretty high value when you're talking about Stukov being able to use his pustule detonation. And it looks like this is the fight that Macro Machines wants. They're looking for the Johanna. She's going to be able to get out with that movement speed on her iron skin. And Sonya's going to get caught, taunted. The cleanse coming out. Silence did land there from the Wailing Arrow. And there it goes. Lost is going in. He's actually going out. Never mind. As Sub-Zero pushed out. Juke City is going to fall, maybe? With the 10 health, somehow survives. Sonya does get the kill there. As Sylvanas will be the next default taunt coming out. Sonya taken out. So 2 for 1 so far. And D.Va going in, gets a big stun, but is going to get taken out. Can she get out with her baby D.Va form? It doesn't look like it, but now Johanna very low. And her level 20 is the Blinded by the Light. So that's that extra Storm Shield-like effect, giving her team a big shield. And really, so Varian and Rainer, this was Macro Machines offensive, and they lost it. Souls in Slowmo turned around and managed to get themselves a huge triple death there, and now they're gonna get themselves a boss play. But this is a little cheeky, getting this this bruiser camp in the mid lane. Again, Rainer has the Exterminator at 1, so he burns through these very quickly. He's got the Execute at 20, so everything under half dies even faster. There's not quite enough gems for another turn in here for Souls and Slowmo, so they're not going to be able to get web weavers out there. So the boss is basically, I mean, it's going to die pretty quickly. And Hyperion coming out just to make sure that that happens. I don't like this. Like Souls and Slowmo, they don't need to be here. They don't have their Sonya. This is now an uneven fight. Wailing Arrow coming out. The last time they made it out, barely, because they had all their cooldowns. There's Ring of Frost coming out, but it doesn't land this time. Varian taking a lot of damage from the Greymane. Might survive because he's got the parry. Sub-Zero having to pull back, is going to get taken out by Stukov. And now it's a very, very bad place for Souls and Slowmo, as the captain is going to get the shield there from the lightning shield. And Born to Shine just trying to keep everybody slowed from behind here. We see Silverbell trying to protect the rest of the team, but now the taunt coming out, looking for that silence, but it's not quite there when they were looking for it. Ignore Pain, that's a huge armor bonus for Sonya for a few seconds, so she's going to be able to spin out of there. But just the one death in that long fighting retreat, but we got 48 gems turned in for Macro Machines, and they almost have enough for another. So we could see another blue web weaver coming up here pretty soon. But, you know what? So does Souls and Slowmo. But if either team gets it, it's definitely more favorable for Macro Machines. Especially putting out these camps on the map, keeping the lanes pressed far forward. The farther they are onto the red side, the better for Macro Machines, no matter who's web weaver. And this could be it right here. Varian's looking for a target, gets the Jaina. The cleanse coming out prevents her from being taunted. The Wailing Arrow did not land there, or did not provide any significant value, but maybe just enough to make sure that Varian could get that taunt. And Johanna being down is... that's unfortunate. It's going to be very difficult now for Souls to defend against this full team here. But they do still have 4. If they can make use of the core mechanic and get some big damage out of that, maybe get a kill or 2, then they can defend this push. Bot lane's going to get cleared up, so that siege camp is taken out. Now, blue team making their way with the bruiser camp, have the Sylvanas. First bullet went out there. Did hit the D.Va, but now she's going to have this mech explosion, and it's going to be right in the middle of everybody from Souls. So they have to split up. A little bit of damage onto the core shields, but Greymane's going to get caught by the Silence. Silence is going to land, and now the Ignore Pain Sonya trying to spin into the team, get as much healing as possible there, but also just put the pressure out, but it doesn't matter. Stukov putting out so much healing here. Silverbell going to get that Ancestral. The double coming in as well, but the Web Weaver putting the damage in onto the core. It's under 40% as Souls trying to find a way to just stay alive in this game. The root going out onto D.Va. She's going to get taken out. And Johanna using Iron Skin to try to stay alive. And the core just being taken out between Stukov and Sylvanas and Raynor. And that's going to be it. Game number 2 and the set going over to Macro Machines. Sorry. Forgot it's not automatic to pull up the stats on the replay cast here. Alrighty then. So now... that again. Can't remember if I showed both. Now, I'm going to go ahead and wrap this up. I'll do a closing so that it shows up on the VOD. And then I'll be back in just a second for our next fun and exciting replay cast here. So thanks for being here. I appreciate it. Stick around for a few moments as we get to now transition to some Div A excitement. Let's go with. So we'll be right back.